Abdominal black+vinegar+abstinence, cool and cute+Gaoleng royal sister. Everyone knows that Xie Wanning loves Fu Chenxi, but if Fu Chenxi doesn't love Xie Wanning, everyone knows. It's been 4 years now, and even a stone has warmed up, but I can't hold his heart. Fu Chenxi and Xie Wanning coincidentally obtained their marriage certificate. Fu Chenxi never treated her unfairly, having everything from clothes, jewelry, to bags. She had already regarded him as someone who would work together for a lifetime, but he only treated her as his roommate. He, who has been secretly married, suddenly revealed pictures of him meeting a woman at the airport and claiming to be his ex-girlfriend. Fu Chenxi, let's get divorced. The group of knights and princesses exploded. Divorce, it's good. Fu Chenxi doesn't deserve our sister. Big brother. After completing this surgery, I will fly back. Second brother. Let's finish work immediately. Third brother. There is still a lawsuit to be fought. Fourth brother posted a photo of the ride. Hahaha, on the way, take a step first. Looking at the news in the group, Xie Wanning sighed and said, I'm getting divorced. With so many people gathered, those who don't know think I'm going to war. Ex-husband brother, please stand aside. Mr. Fu, madam has been confessed again. She is still a handsome guy, and I think madam quite likes him. On the way to pursuing his wife, there were so many stumbling blocks. When will we have to pursue her like this? Chapter 1. I love you. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. A passionate kiss permeated the air, their bodies overlapping and merging. Moonlight shone through the window into the room, illuminating the moment of love. Xie Wanning wrapped her hands around Fu Chenxi's neck and looked at him affectionately. After a series of ups and downs, Xie Wanning was sweating profusely. Fu Chenxi, I love you. Fu Chenxi gave a sinister smile and his breathing gradually became heavy. The pain under his body was severe. Xie Wanning pushed him hard, but it was as if her fist was hitting cotton, all in vain. On a phone call, Xie Wanning knew he was going out again, and sure enough. Fu Chenxi put on his clothes while making a phone call, wait for me, and hung up the phone. Fu Chenxi noticed Xie Wanning, who had been staring at him all along. I need to go out for a trip. Xie Wanning pulled out a smile and said, I know. There are countless women around Fu Chenxi, including sexy and seductive secretaries, sweet and charming female companions, and shrewd and capable partners. In short, she has never been by his side. Fu Chenxi had some doubts about her reaction. He used to pester himself to stay and accompany her, even if he still went, it was still the first time he had gone like this today. Fu Chenxi paused and said, remember to take the medicine. I know. Seeing Fu Chenxi still standing, Xie Wanning got out of bed, took out a contraceptive pill from a drawer, drank it with her head up, and lay in bed with her back to him. Dong! The door closed, and Xie Wanning could no longer restrain herself. Tears flowed down the corners of her eyes, saying, Fu Chenxi, why don't you believe that I love you? Previously, Xie Wanning also mentioned to him, Fu Chenxi, do you like children? Yes, Xie Wanning looked at him expectantly, then let's have one. Fu Chenxi held her in his arms and said, good morning, it's still early. Let's wait a little longer. Xie Wanning has always been immersed in the beautiful dream she has woven. It must be Chenxi who loves me, but the dream is ultimately a dream and will always wake up. Fu Chenxi was also feeling irritable, smoking in the garage for a long time, not knowing what he was thinking. The first ray of sunshine in the morning falls, and a new day arrives. Fu Chenxi is still the CEO who is highly regarded and sought after by many people. Xie Wanning rubbed her waist and felt a severe pain. President, please take a look at these documents. Fu Chenxi was closing his eyes and regaining his composure. Assistant Li brought some documents, dang dang dang. Tang Wanyi stepped on 10 centimeters of height and walked in arrogantly. Assistant Li then stepped down. Is there anything else? Tang Wanning twisted her body and walked over to Fu Chenxi, pretending to have been messed up. She fell into Fu Chenxi's arms and blinked her big Katsura eyes, saying coquettishly, "Why, they can't come to you if they have nothing to do." Fu Chenxi pushed her away, her eyes furrowed tightly. "This is the company, please pay attention to your identity, President," Fu Chenxi said with a dark face, and Tang Wanning didn't dare to disturb her too much. She returned in frustration. If it weren't for the sake of Mr. Tang's face, Fu Chenxi would have fired her long ago. She didn't work hard all day, relied on her own background, went to work to fish, and even harassed herself from time to time. Fu Chenxi took out his cologne perfume and sprayed it on the air and clothes, finally covering Tang Wanning's perfume. Xie Wanning's body was as if being driven away by a car. In the vast villa, room, and garden, there was only Xie Wanning, except for the servant. Yijingxi Garden is the wedding room for two people. It should have been sweet and full of laughter and joy, but except for Xie Wanning, everything is paired up. Birds flying in the sky, fish swimming in the lake, ants walking on the ground, only Xie Wanning is alone. Fu Chenxi only sees this place as a hotel, with food to eat and a place to rest, but never takes it seriously. Except for the lack of love and responsibility, Fu Chenxi gave Xie Wanning all her material possessions, including a branded bag, diamond necklace, pearl jewelry, various expensive and beautiful clothes, and everything in Xie Wanning's wardrobe. Xie Wanning can memorize Fu Chenxi's phone number and send him messages every day. "Chenxi, remember to have lunch on time. Don't drink alcohol, pay attention to your health. Pay attention to safety while driving, I miss you so much, have you missed me?" Most of the messages sink into the sea, and Fu Chenxi occasionally replies. Even if there is only one or two words, Xie Wanning can be happy for a while. If there is no reply, she will comfort herself. Fu Chenxi is busy. Xie Wanning rubbed the ring on her hand, her thoughts turning back. Their marriage was a coincidence. Xie Wanning urgently needed to marry herself out in order to avoid being tricked by Lu Yuanzhou and Song Jiuyuan. Fu Chenxi, in order to fulfill her grandmother's wish, planned to find someone else to marry, and coincidentally, the two of them made up a pair. But Fu Chenxi didn't know that Xie Wanning had liked her for a long time. Chenxi Wanning loves him, even without a wedding or blessings. She resolutely walked towards him. Since getting married, apart from Fu Chenxi's family and good friends, almost no one knows her, and even the outside world has always believed that Fu Chenxi has been single. Mu Nanfeng returned to his home country, and Fu Chenxi and Mo Yunjing helped him clean up the dust. They were very good buddies. They grew up naked together, and they talked about everything. Originally, some of them talked and laughed, but Fu Chenxi stared blankly at the wine glass. Mu Nanfeng poked Mo Yunjing with his elbow, and the two of them sat in front of him with a gossipy expression on their faces. "I said, Fu Gu, why are you looking sad? Did Xie Wanning prank you again?" When she first got married, Xie Wanning told herself that she must make him fall in love with her, so she did various things to tease him and create surprises for him. Making love breakfast. However, she was accidentally bumped into by Mo Yunjing, so she made fun of Fu Chenxi with this matter. Mo Yunjing is a famous playboy who never gets distracted when looking for a girlfriend, but Mu Nanfeng knows that Fu Chenxi still has Xie Wanning in his heart. Otherwise, with his bad temper, how could he have lived with her for so long? "Chenxi, to be honest, do you really like her?" Mo Yunjing continued to ask. "I'm not sure." Fu Chenxi's phone rang. It was Xie Wanning who called. "Chenxi, it's getting late. Are you coming back soon?" "It's getting late." Hang up the phone, drink the wine from the glass. Nanfeng, come back another day. "Well, Chenxi, go back and be careful of your safety." After getting married, Xie Wanning requested Fu Chenxi to go back before 11 p.m. every night, and he also agreed. Occasionally, if there were social events, if it was too late, Xie Wanning would call him and go to bed first. When the two got married, Xie Wanning mentioned this, and Fu Chenxi agreed. Every day before 11 o'clock, he would try his best to be home on time, and when he opened the door, Xie Wanning would give him a big hug and help him hang his clothes on the shelf. She selects and matches the clothes she wears every day, including ironing them. These were originally made by the family servants, but after Xie Wanning arrived, she made them all. In the eyes of the servant, the two of them were a sweet and loving couple, constantly sticking together. However, only Xie Wanning knew that it was always her own unilateral effort, but she still believed that one day he would definitely fall in love with her. Chapter 2. Family Dinner. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. There is always such a day every month. I'll pick you up when I go back to my old house for dinner tonight. Fu Chenxi dialed Xie Wanning's phone. I got it. Xie Wanning put on a beautiful makeup and wore a light blue qipao, exuding elegance. Fu Chenxi watched Xie Wanning walk, her qipao outlining the beautiful lines of her body, beautiful like a fairy in a painting. The traffic lights flickered incessantly, and vehicles and crowds flowing from south to north commanded the traffic police to move in an orderly manner. When Fu Chenxi's car passed by, he also bowed to him as a sign of respect. A car suddenly changed its route on the road, and assistantly quickly braked to avoid collision. Although it was his fault, he cursed and said, "How did you drive? What are you doing with long eyes?" Assistantly ignored him, but fortunately he didn't encounter it, otherwise he would have suffered. The CEO's car looks nothing special, similar to an ordinary car, but in reality, it's only this one right now. If it scratches or rubs, he will have to pay for it. The car didn't cause any harm, but Xie Wanning slammed into the car window due to inertia, causing her to gasp in pain and tears couldn't stop flowing down. "President, I'm sorry, madam. Are you okay?" Assistantly looked back with a worried expression, and Fu Chenxi gently helped her rub the area she had just hit. "I'm fine." Xie Wanning's eyes watered with tears. "Let's go first." Upon receiving instructions, assistantly continued to drive. "How's it going? Does it still hurt?" Xie Wanning would occasionally bump into Fu Chenxi and beg for a hug. The loud collision today must have caused a lot of pain. "Chenxi, you're worried. I'm fine." After a while, Xie Wanning gradually calmed down and parked her car at the entrance of the old house. "President, here we are," she said. You can drive the car back first, don't wait for us. Every time I come to the old house, I stay overnight with my grandmother." Fu Chenxi stretched out his arm, and Xie Wanning immediately understood. They took him by the arm and walked in together, saying, "Oh, isn't this my brother and sister? Law. I'll say hello to you." It was Fu Wenting, the son of Fu Chenxi's second uncle, who had been hanging around all day, like the thugs on the street, not a kind owner. Xie Wanning followed Fu Chenxi without giving him a single glance and said, Fu Chenxi, how long do you think you can still get married? When the time comes, your position, wealth, woman, everything about you will be mine, Hahaha. Fu Wenting returned to the living room and sat down. "Chenxi, you're back. Mom made your favorite dish." Fu Chenxi didn't give any face. "My mom's name is Su Nanshu, and she's already dead. May I ask which mom you are?" Yun Qianyue's face turned blue. Fu Ming walked in from outside and walked up to Yun Qianyue. "She's my newly married wife. I'm your old man, why isn't she your mom anymore?" Yun Qianyue tugged at his sleeve and shook her head. Fu Chenxi also stubbornly said, "I only have one mother, she is already dead. If you want me to call her mother, forget it." The atmosphere suddenly stiffened, but fortunately, Grandma appeared in time, breaking the deadlock. "Is Cici and Ning here?" Grandma came down from upstairs, and Xie Wanning quickly went to help her. Grandma looked kind. "Okay, it's really good. It's still Ning who is good. Unlike some people who come back only a few times a month and don't come to see my old bones, they don't know how to help me. Fu Chenxi stood on the ground, his sword coming from all directions. Previously, when I went to help, I was pushed away by the disdainful ones, and I was surrounded by Xie Wanning. Today, if I didn't help, I hit the gun. Grandma always looks happy like a child when she sees Xie Wanning. Hey, everyone's here. Look at me packing too slowly, I'm late again. Ji Hanua walked in with his Hermes bag, putting his hair hanging in his ear behind his back, revealing the pearl necklace around his neck. It's not late, you're here at the right time, Hanua. Your necklace is not bad, said Yun Qianyue. Although she was not recognized by Fu Chenxi, the Fu family had already accepted her. Just loving Fu Ming and treating Fu Chenxi as if she were their own, even if Fu Chenxi didn't treat her well, it was enough to shoulder this position. Oh my, they were all bought by Wenting. There's still a lot left at home, and I can't even wear them, Ji Hanua said, placing the earrings, rings, and bracelets in front of everyone. Isn't this not very attractive? Fu Wenting walked over and said, Mom, it's very good, especially for you. Really, Ji Hanua's mouth almost grinned behind his ear as he spoke a few words. Fu Chenxi sat on the sofa, watching them like watching some funny movie. Xie Wanning was not popular and didn't want to be boring. She was eating melon seeds and watching the drama with her grandmother. After praising her over there, she walked over to Xie Wanning and said, Wanning, why do you say I'm all your elders? How could you be so impolite when you see your elders? Hello auntie, Grandma impatiently said, where are you comfortable? Stay where you are. Don't disturb us while watching TV, Ning Ning. He's so handsome. Mom. Grandma ignored her, and Ji Hanua ate his food and left with a pouted mouth. Finally, it was dinner time, and Fu Wenting looked at Xie Wanning with ill intentions. Fu Chenxi spoke coldly, second brother, if it's not yours, don't think about it. Fu Wenting smiled instead of getting angry and said, Big brother, why are you so nervous? Isn't my sister law too beautiful? Let me see if it's against the law, younger brother. Fu Chenxi broke the chopsticks in his hand and said, Chenxi, calm down. Xie Wanning grabbed his wrist and gestured to him with her eyes. That's right, Ning Ning is the most beautiful, Grandma suddenly pointed to Fu Chenxi. You have to guard her well. Ning Ning has followed you, I don't know how many blessings you had in your previous life. Don't regret it again, stinky kid. Whether or not to say it or not, Grandma can predict. Xie Wanning was a bit shy and said, Grandma, okay. Grandma won't say it anymore, we Ning Ning are still shy. Grandma, this glass of wine is from my grandson to you. I wish you a strong and happy health. Fu Ming also praised him, Wenting has a heart, not bad. Ji Hanua's face lit up when he heard his son being praised. Isn't that right? Respecting the elderly and caring for the young has always been an excellent tradition. Come and go, everyone is here, let's touch one together. Xie Wanning is good at everything, but her tolerance for alcohol is too poor, typical of pouring a glass. Belonging to the type that loves both food and drink, Fu Chenxi thought Xie Wanning had a good tolerance for alcohol and allowed her to drink. Oh, Ning Ning, you're drunk. Fu Chenxi looked at Xie Wanning, with two blushes on her face. I don't have one, I can still drink. He met Fu Chenxi's gaze. Xie Wanning was dumbfounded and reached out to pinch his face, touching her chin. Who are you? You're quite handsome, how fierce you are. Fu Chenxi was afraid she would fall off the chair, supporting her. Hahaha, Ning Ning is drunk, said Fu Chenxi as she was about to return to her room. Due to the influence of alcohol, Xie Wanning cried and laughed at times, and even wiped her nose with Fu Chenxi's clothes. Xie Wanning. For someone with a serious cleanliness obsession, he couldn't bear it for a moment and took off his clothes and threw them into the trash can. Who is Xie Wanning? Seeing Fu Chenxi's figure, Xie Wanning had a seductive expression on her face and sat by the bed counting. Handsome guy has a good figure, 1, 2. Fu Chenxi walked up to her and said, are you very good? Looking. Xie Wanning had a smile on her aunt's face and directly touched her. It looks good, she said as her hand moved around her body. Fu Chenxi swallowed his saliva and grabbed her. Xie Wanning, it won't be so easy to touch it again, will it? If it were normal, Xie Wanning would definitely let go immediately, but the wine was too strong to scare people. Xie Wanning continued to walk up and touched his Adam's apple. Fu Chenxi threw her onto the bed and said, Xie Wanning, this is what you asked for yourself. The dense kisses fell, and Xie Wanning was a bit caught off guard. As soon as the atmosphere arrived, Xie Wanning suddenly pushed him away, covered her mouth and ran to the bathroom. Naughty. Fu Chenxi was speechless as she listened to the commotion inside. Did you vomit yourself? Chapter 3. After so many years of getting used to it. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. De co lois ara trong quatrin lay text. Chapter 4. You, married. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Oh Chulin felt a little disappointed and a little pleased. Don't lose heart, I still have a chance. Now that I am unmarried, I will try my best to get closer to him. Maybe he will like me. Alright, time's up, you two can stop now. Mo Yunjing and Mu Nanfeng sat opposite Fu Chenxi and Oh Chulin, as if they were a mischievous child, not letting each other down. Looking at the delicious food with all its colors, flavors, gugugugu, alright, that's all for today. If it weren't for me being hungry, I would definitely have had a showdown with you. Coincidentally, so would I. Under the temptation of delicious food, the two finally stopped making a fuss. Auchelin placed Italian white truffle pasta on his plate and said, Chen, this is your favorite food. Fu Chenxi nodded and said, it's quite delicious. You can try it too. Mo Yunjing took a tiramisu and imitated the two men's appearance. Come on, Feng, this is your favorite food. Mu Nanfeng only felt hot and refused to open his mouth. As soon as Mu Nanfeng spoke, several people couldn't laugh anymore. Hahaha, you're amazing and insightful. They were just happy when Xie Wanning's phone came again. I'll go back soon, Oh Chulin smiled. I didn't expect President Fu to still have this side. That's not it, it must be Xie Wanning, Oh Chulin's heart pounded. Xie Wanning, who is she? Why does Chen listen to her? Who else could it be, his wife? Otherwise, who would have dared to control our prince? Oh Chulin looked incredulous and couldn't speak for a long time. Mo Yunjing didn't really like Xie Wanning, and even a bit disliked her. Now that Oh Chulin has returned, even though the two are not together, their past love is still there. They are afraid that Mo Yunjing will speak recklessly and say something more. Mu Nanfeng poked him with his elbow and gave him a crazy look to signal him to shut up. Fortunately, this time he listened. Sorry, Chulin, should have told you in advance. Oh Chulin's eyes were filled with tears, and she shook her head and said, Are you married? Is this true? Fu Chenxi nodded and said, I'll leave first. Fu Chenxi didn't understand why she would react to hearing that she was married. Oh Chulin's tears were like pearls that had shed a thread. Chulin, don't cry, Mu Nanfeng and Mo Yunjing didn't know how to comfort her. Oh Chulin liked Fu Chenxi, and they saw it in their eyes. But now that things have changed, it's no longer the past. Xie Wanning was lying in bed playing with her phone. Handsome and rich, always in the same frame as Goddess Lin, I wonder what kind of sparks they would create. Even though the screen was full of bright and charming Goddess Lin, the boss only had a slight outline. Xie Wanning recognized at a glance that the boss was her husband Fu Chenxi, and there were a few more ambiguous photos behind him. Fu Chenxi pulling the suitcase, smiling at Auchelin, and the two hugging each other. Hashtag they are a perfect match, they are a perfect match. The smile deeply hurt Xie Wanning. No matter how hard she tried to approach him and make him happy, he had never laughed so happily before. Xie Wanning self-mocked and said, Xie Wanning, what are you still holding on to? Assistantly brushed his phone and was very anxious when he saw this news. President, someone has posted photos of you and Oh Chulin online. Fu Chenxi stepped on the brake and let out a growl in the quiet darkness. Fu Chenxi's slender fingers flipped through the news online, with likes and comments still skyrocketing. Withdrawal, hurry up, ensure completion of the task. Assistant Li's operation was fierce as a tiger. Sure enough, the quickest solution was to cut off the problem from the source, but it was all money. Oh, forget it, it's the CEO's money anyway. For the sake of his and his wife's happy life, spending some money is nothing. Assistant Li yawned and, I'm so tired, and fell asleep. Open the door, Xie Wanning is applying a facial mask. Instead of hugging as usual, he simply said, come back. Fu Chenxi changed his shoes, walked to her and sat down. He and Oh Chulin have nothing to do. Xie Wanning is his wife now, and he doesn't want to or feel the need to hide it from her. Did you see the news online? Xie Wanning looked indifferent. I did, it's not what you saw. I have nothing to do with her. Fu Chenxi looked at her seriously, I know you don't need to explain it to me. I'll go wash my face first. Xie Wanning turned around and a tear slipped down her cheek. I can't cry, don't cry. She secretly wiped away her tears and turned around. Fu Chenxi, do you have time tomorrow? Let's have dinner together, go eat outside. Well, okay, Xie Wanning hid in the bathroom, her eyes red with tears. Fu Chenxi, I don't want you anymore. Fu Chenxi sat in the living room, feeling like something was getting further and further away from her, but she couldn't tell what it was. The first ray of sunshine in the morning falls, and a new day begins. Xie Wanning was dressing up in the mirror, while Fu Chenxi had already packed up early and waited for her in the living room. She had always been closely following him, but still couldn't keep up with his pace. This was the last time. Wait. Fu Chenxi is a person with a strong sense of time. He usually goes to work and leaves work, even on Saturdays and Sundays, and is never late. He has checked his watch several times, but Xie Wanning has not come out yet. He just picked up a magazine to read. Alright, let's go. Xie Wanning wore a long suspender dress, revealing her fair arms and calves. It was the first time Fu Chenxi had seen her dress like this. If she had been like a jasmine before, now she was like a fiery red rose, exuding charm all over her body. The two of them arrived at a restaurant and sat face to face. They had almost finished their meal. Xie Wanning picked up her wine glass and followed Fu Chenxi's gaze, saying, this is the first glass of wine. Thank you for helping me solve the problem. Fu Chenxi naturally knew what she was referring to and raised her glass to touch it. You're welcome, you helped me too, she said after drinking a glass of wine. Xie Wanning stared at him affectionately and said, Fu Chenxi, do you know? I'm really tired. I walk in your direction every day, but I realize that I can never get there, no matter how hard I try, and she cried as she spoke, why haven't you ever seen me in your eyes? I keep telling myself, hold on a little longer, maybe you'll see me and fall in love with me. But reality is ultimately reality. You are my whole world, but for you, I'm just a tool to avoid blind dates at home, being both sensible and obedient. I really love you so much that I don't want to let go. Even if you treat me a little better, I will see hope. In the end, it all becomes a luxury. I took 99 steps towards you, and the remaining step, I don't want to leave. Chapter 5. Let's divorce. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Xie Wanning looked up and drank the wine from her glass, with tears on her face. She smiled and looked at him, Fu Chenxi, let's get divorced. Fu Chenxi never thought about divorcing her. He was decisive in the workplace, but this time he didn't know how to face it. Xie Wanning thought he was worried about the issue of property division. You earned the money all by yourself. You didn't have to split the agreed divorce property in half, and I didn't do anything about it. I just need to leave the house clean, Fu Chenxi said with an unnamed anger. Xie Wanning, you agreed to get married back then. Now it's you who wants to bring up the divorce. I've told you that I have nothing to do with Chulin. Why are you still making such a fuss? Xie Wanning smiled and said, Fu Chenxi, in your eyes, I just make a fuss. So let me ask you, do you know what I like to eat and what I dislike? Do you listen to what I say every time? Do you know when my birthday is, and am I allergic to anything? You don't know, but I know, what you like, what you dislike, everything you like, the color of your clothes, the fruits you love to eat. Fu Chenxi fell silent. Indeed, he knew nothing about her. Our relationship is all maintained by me. If I let go, it will really come to an end. I am happy because of your happiness and sad because of your sadness, Xie Wanning said, tears streaming down her face like an open faucet, falling to the ground and hitting Fu Chenxi's heart. Xie Wanning wiped her tears and smiled, look, we are just two parallel lines that will never intersect, only suitable for being alone and beautiful. Fu Chenxi's heart was in chaos and he didn't want to divorce her, but shouldn't he be happy when he proposed divorce? He will still live his old days in the future, without having to go home on time at night or. But why is it that he can't bear it anymore? Divorce, I don't agree. Fu Chenxi angrily left, leaving Xie Wanning alone. Fu Chenxi, why bother? Isn't this better? GRA nightclub is bustling with people, it is the hottest nightclub in the city, gathering many handsome men and beautiful women. Everyone is burning tonight's loneliness with their own passion, women are all enchanting and blossoming, and men are all alluring and rich in gold. The music in the nightclub is passionate and surging, leaving everyone in a state of madness, dancing with all the allure and excitement in the middle of the night. In the corner, Fu Chenxi had a cold expression on his face and three-dimensional facial features, making it difficult to take a second glance. He watched the crowds coming and going in the nightclub, drinking his wine alone, with a hint of subtle evil charm and sting on his lips. Xiaomei is a resident singer of the nightclub, with a heavenly voice, a devilish and provocative figure, a large wavy golden curly hair that emits a dazzling light, and slender thighs wearing a short, goose-yellow miniskirt, making her figure exceptionally beautiful. Many people who come here are attracted to her, and it's like lingering sounds that linger for 3 days. Her beautiful figure dances with the music, like colorful butterflies in the sunlight. Xiaomei was very interested in Fu Chenxi in the corner, and even her singing eyes kept looking over here on stage. Mo Yunjing rubbed her eyes and looked excited, I'm going, Xiaomei actually looked at me, she has vision. Mu Nanfeng expressed that it was difficult to judge. Please, don't be so narcissistic, okay? How could someone have looked at you? It's just staring at Chenxi, okay? Mo Yunjing moved to Mu Nanfeng's side and looked at the stage. Good guy, Xiaomei was still staring at him. Mo Yunjing fell on Mu Nanfeng's shoulder and held his hand to his heart. Feng Feng, my heart hurts so much. I can't believe that with such a handsome face, I lost to Chenxi. I'm afraid I'll have to live under his halo in the future, Feng Feng. Mu Nanfeng pushed him away with disdain, tidied up his clothes, and said, I think it's pretty good. This way, you can calm down for a while. Mo Yunjing held up his wine glass, pretending to be in a state of sadness. I didn't expect that even you didn't want me, and Feng Feng still despised me. After all, he paid me the wrong amount. Oh, let's just put everything in this glass of wine, Mo Yunjing said in a gulp. After drinking, he's a handsome guy again. At the end of the song, there was thunderous applause from the audience. Xiaomei picked up her wine glass and walked towards Fu Chenxi, saying, so many people want me, I don't believe you don't want me. Sooner or later, I'll make you kneel under my pomegranate skirt. This handsome guy, can we have a drink together? Fu Chenxi didn't even lift her eyelids, and a hint of embarrassment flashed on Xiaomei's face. I don't believe it anymore. Soon, Xiaomei changed into her usual smiling face and sat next to Fu Chenxi, gently leaning against his shoulder. Get lost. Before he could even get there, Fu Chenxi stood up and knocked over Xiaomei's wine glass. Her beautiful dress was wet, and everyone present looked towards her. Mo Yunjing quickly made up for it and said, well, my friend is drunk. Don't take what he said to heart. It's not good, it's disturbing your interest. I'll compensate him for it. Humph! Xiaomei shook her face and left, looking at her disheveled self in the mirror. I'm so angry. How many people want to date me and have to queue up? It makes me lose face. It's really despicable. Fu Chenxi didn't say a word, just sat there, pouring wine with all his might, and the empty wine bottle swayed on the ground. Chenxi, what's wrong with you? Tell us what happened. We've almost finished drinking. Mo Yunjing snatched the cup from his hand. Fu Chenxi reached out to take another one, and Mo Yunjing directly poured the wine on his face. Roaring, drink and drink, you'll know you're drunk. You don't want your body anymore. Do you want to go to the hospital? Just say what you want. Why do you drink yourself like this? Mo Yunjing placed all the wine in front of him. Drink it, you've drunk all of this. Aren't you quite drinkable? Fu Chenxi really went to get it, and Mo Yunjing pushed down all the wine and scolded, that's enough. Mu Nanfeng pinched Mo Yunjing's shoulder, don't be so aggressive, speak well. Mo Yunjing lowered his voice slightly, his anger level remained unchanged. How can you tell me to speak well? Look at him, drink from beginning to end, and don't say a word. If this continues, we'll have to go to the hospital to see him. Mu Nanfeng patted Fu Chenxi, and Mo Yunjing sat down, both staring at Fu Chenxi with a feeling of wanting to see through. She wants to divorce me. No need to ask, she naturally refers to Xie Wanning. Mo Yunjing hates Xie Wanning so much because he thinks she is not worthy of Fu Chenxi. Let's just leave. Anyway, you don't like her either. Besides, you two got married just to avoid problems and have no relationship. It's so good that we both live our own lives after divorce. Mu Nanfeng's mind was quite delicate. Chenxi, do you love her? Fu Chenxi stared at him dejectedly. I don't know, do you hate her? Fu Chenxi Yao nodded, and Mu Nanfeng said earnestly, Chenxi, as your brother, we can all see that Xie Wanning loves you very much. But you need to see your heart clearly. If you like and love her, go and fight for it. If you don't like it, tying two people together is not good for anyone. Emotions cannot be forced, and marriage cannot be compromised. Do I really like her? Fu Chenxi is not sure either. He only knows that he likes to see her smile and wants to make her cry. When he sees a man talking to her, he gets angry. He also looks at her while she is asleep. From initially rejecting her to later getting used to her chattering around him, getting used to seeing her when he comes home from work, getting used to the food she cooks, even if he never praises it for being delicious, are these things he likes. Fu Chenxi fell into contemplation. Nanfeng, what exactly is love? Fu Chenxi's mother, Su Nanxiu, had a car accident when he was 5 years old and left him forever. His father, Fu Ming, was devoted to his career. When he was 8 years old, he married Yun Qianyue. From then on, Fu Chenxi became no longer as sunny and cheerful as before. He constantly made himself stronger, but no one told him what love is, let alone taught him how to love someone. Mu Nanfeng leaned against the sofa, pondering, love this thing. It's very abstract, not something that can be expressed clearly in just a few words. You have to ask your own heart and follow his feelings. Mo Yunjing also said, I think love is when you want her to live well, and you can give up everything you have for her, including your life. In the evening, Fu Chenxi returned home, and Xie Wanning was already asleep. Looking at her peaceful sleeping face, Fu Chenxi smiled and couldn't help but want to touch her face. Soft, the question in his mind. What is love? Chapter 6. Irregular Mood. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Xie Wanning returned to Yijingxi Garden to pack her luggage. In fact, she didn't have many things, such as dowry, clothes, bags, and so on. Many of them were bought by Fu Chenxi, and she didn't even take off the hang tags. It's a pity to throw them away. Xie Wanning packed a few things she often wears, brought some personal belongings, and thought that a suitcase would suffice. However, she didn't expect to pack in the scattered items and it would soon be full. After several trips back and forth in the room, I finally packed it up. Looking at the objects at home, Xie Wanning fell into contemplation and said, these things were all installed according to her thoughts and preferences. In the future, Fu Chenxi will have a new girlfriend, which is so unsightly. Besides, she will have to leave her buttocks and naturally have to leave clean. I made a phone call to the foundation and donated all the clothes that I didn't take away. Anyway, they were still dusty and no one was wearing them. Looking at the wedding photo on the bedroom wall, Xie Wanning muttered to herself, look, you two are destined not to come together. You didn't start with love, how can love continue now? Xie Wanning smiled sweetly in the photo, her eyes filled with joy and happiness, but Fu Chenxi remained tense and unsmiling. Xie Wanning put away the photo frames on the table and the photos on the wall, and dragged her suitcase downstairs. Madam, where are you going? Aunt Wang was cleaning up and quickly helped her take down the suitcase. I'll go out and take a look, you clean it first. Madam, are you angry about the photo of the young master? Madam, the young master still loves you very much, but he is not good at expressing himself. Don't be angry with him, Aunt Wang's eyebrows were almost furrowed into Chinese characters. No, I really went out to play. I wasn't angry with him. After talking to Aunt Wang for a while, she finally came out. Xie Wanning turned around and said, Fu Chenxi, goodbye. The more Aunt Wang thought about it, the more she felt something was wrong. She had never taken her luggage out to play like this before. Aunt Wang anxiously turned around in circles and said, what's going on? Answer the phone, answer the phone. Fu Chenxi was feeling suffocated. For the first time in his life, he was openly distracted during a meeting, and the employees were all staring at him like copper bells. It's unbelievable, is this still our CEO? He's actually distracted, one employee said, but his distracted appearance is also super handsome. Everyone shook their heads and said, don't be a fanatic. One day, he'll scold you so badly that you still think he's handsome. The employee nodded and said, in my heart, he is the number one on the male god list and will never change. Unable to save him, the crowd dispersed. Opening my phone, there were 30.8 unanswered calls, all from home. I thought something was wrong, so I quickly went back and said, young master, finally got through. Aunt Wang, did something happen? Young master, madam dragged her suitcase out and said she was going to play. I'm not at ease. Fu Chenxi pinched his eyebrows and said, Xie Wanning. Returning home, everything remained the same as before, with grey curtains, grey tablecloths, and monotonous lights. Xie Wanning wiped away all her traces, as if she had never been before. Entering the bedroom, all the clothes were gone, and even the usual aromatherapy had been replaced. Fu Chenxi sat by the bed, recalling Xie Wanning's words, if one day I plan to give up on you, I will be completely separated from your world, turn around and leave with ease. Xie Wanning has no job, and since getting married, her family has never appeared. She also has no friends here. Fu Chenxi thought she would come back in a few days, but he was wrong. A few days passed, and Xie Wanning did not show up. What was waiting was a divorce agreement. Assistant Li was trembling and didn't know what to say. Since his wife left, Fu Chenxi's temper has become even worse. If it was originally 0 degrees Celsius, now it is -20 degrees Celsius. The originally warm weather is now a bit cold and flustered. Xiao Li, what's wrong? Assistant Li stood opposite Fu Chenxi with a hesitant expression. President, here's your email, Fu Chenxi asked without looking up. What is it? Assistant Li didn't answer. Fu Chenxi looked up at him and said, what's wrong? Assistant Li extended the email in front of him. President, you can read it yourself. The 4 big characters in the divorce agreement are particularly prominent. The reason for divorce is that the husband and wife often argue because he is not capable. Fu Chenxi laughed angrily and said, I am not capable, okay, really good. Assistant Li was confused and said, isn't that right? Why are you still laughing? Are you eager for a divorce? Property distribution. The woman left the household with a clean body and did not need to divide the property. Looking at the elegant font at the end of the page, Fu Chenxi angrily tore up the divorce agreement, comforting his little heart. This is my CEO, he said. Xie Wanning booked a 5-star hotel. Just after taking a shower, Fu Chenxi called and thought it should be about the divorce agreement, so she answered. Fu Chenxi's back teeth were about to be bitten apart. Okay, you can just run away from home and don't answer my phone, finally got through. Fu Chenxi directly performed the lion roar technique and said, thank you late coagulation. He was not very happy, and Xie Wanning didn't hesitate to say, Fu Chenxi, you're sick. Why are you so loud? I'm not deaf. Remember to send me the divorce agreement once it's written, thank you. After finishing speaking, Fu Chenxi hung up the phone. Fu Chenxi's anger increased by 3, and Xie Wanning was skilled. She not only yelled at him but also scolded him, but also dared to hang up his phone. Fu Chenxi didn't like anything and stared at the flowers and plants outside with a resentful expression. Blow dry her hair, Xie Wanning opened a bottle of wine, how could it not be painful anymore? In relationships, the person who is the first to be moved is often the most hurt and loses the most miserably. Late at night is the most painful time, and all the thoughts, grievances, and sorrows can be told to the moon. Xie Wanning wiped away her tears and said, today is the last time. In the future, you should live a good life, but don't cry. Xie Wanning, believe in yourself, you can. These days, it has been tough for Mo Yunjing and Mu Nanfeng. They accompany Fu Chenxi every day. He is now an explosive barrel that can be lit at any time. He has a bad temper and doesn't speak much. He holds wine bottles all day and uses alcohol to numb himself. Fu Chenxi lay drunk on the table, and Mu Nanfeng asked him, Chenxi, have you signed? Fu Chenxi waved his hand and said, I don't want it. As she wanted, the divorce agreement was torn up by me, it's gone, Fu Chenxi stood up unsteadily, speaking incoherently, it's getting late, I have to go back. As if his footsteps were floating and he had practiced drunken boxing, how could he still walk? Mo Yunjing carried him on his back and said, Chenxi, you really love her. Fu Chenxi was a treasure on the tip of her grandmother's heart. After hearing about it, the old man couldn't rest assured and hurriedly rushed over from the old house. Chapter 7. This is the only person in the world. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Fu Chenxi is a genuine workaholic, either at work or on the way to work every day. When he comes home, he also takes some time to work and sleeps soundly under the influence of his drunkenness. Grandma caressed Fu Chenxi's hand and said, Cece, it's all because Grandma didn't teach you well. Look, what's going on? Among the 2 grandsons, Grandma's favorite was Fu Chenxi, who was afraid of melting in her mouth. Fu Chenxi had lost his mother since childhood, and it was Grandma who pulled him up. Fu Ming didn't value his family and married Su Nanxiu simply because he was from the right family. For Fu Chenxi, being still fickle after marriage is an optional existence, and there is very little interaction between the two. The father-son relationship is just like that, which can be said to be a vague existence. However, my grandmother likes Su Nanxiu very much and often praises her for being gentle, virtuous, graceful, and graceful. In short, she is a shining presence, lamenting that her son is not worthy of her, but accidents always come first. An accident took away her young life. Fu Chenxi opened his eyes in a daze and said, "Hey! Grandma, why are you here?" Grandma looked at him kindly and said, "It's not because I'm worried about you." Grandma held Fu Chenxi's hand and hit him a few times. "I heard you scared my granddaughter away, didn't you?" Grandma was so willing to hit him, it was just thunder, rain, and small drops. Grandma's hands are not as white, tender, and glossy as those of a wealthy lady. Her hands are black and a bit dry, and her skin is also very loose. Fu Chenxi held Grandma's hand and leaned against her arms. "Grandma, what is love?" Grandma looked at Fu Chenxi in her arms, her eyes curved into crescents. "Cece, do you remember what Grandma said to you before?" Fu Chenxi nodded. After Su Nanxiu left, they were worried that Fu Chenxi wouldn't accept the truth, so they told a white lie to deceive her, saying that Su Nanxiu had gone to a very far place and would not come back for a long time. Since then, Fu Chenxi has been holding his mother's birthday gift. An armored toy. And waiting for her at the door every day. Wait and wait, time has passed day by day, and I still haven't seen that familiar figure. Grandma sat in the chair and looked at him from afar. "Cece, let's wait for a moment, okay? If Mom is coming back, she will notify us in advance." Fu Chenxi looked at the armor. "Grandma, when will Mom come back?" "I miss her so much." Grandma looked up at the sky and said, "It's almost." Fu Chenxi believed Grandma's words and followed her into the room. Grandma helped Fu Chenxi warm her hands and said, "Look, these little hands are red from the cold. If they freeze any longer, they will fall off." At that time, Fu Chenxi was panting like a small glutinous rice ball, and now he has grown into a handsome young man. What love is, you have to experience it yourself, you have to ask your own heart, Grandma said earnestly. "Child, when you truly understand love, you are qualified to have it." Fu Chenxi thought for a moment and said, "So? Does relying on one person count?" "It doesn't count, you have to feel it with your heart." Chulin still couldn't accept Fu Chenxi's marriage. When filming, she was always in a bad state. If she were an ordinary actor, she would have been scolded and cried countless times, blaming him, her, for delaying the filming progress and wasting everyone's time. However, Chulin is a top-tier celebrity, and even after trying several times in ordinary shots, she still couldn't pass. She can only be angry in her heart, and on the surface, she still needs to be friendly. "Chulin, are you feeling unwell? Why don't we take a break before filming so that you can adjust and adjust?" The director told her, "I'm sorry, director. I'm not in a good state today, but don't worry, I'll handle it right away." "I'm really sorry." Chulin is not unreasonable. After filming for so long, she naturally realized her own problem. Love and career are both important, and she naturally needs to do a good job in her career. After all, that is the dream she pursued since she was young. "Chulin, show your best form, let's talk about the rest later." As expected, everything went very smoothly. Even the director gave a thumbs up and said, "Look, this is acting. Everyone should learn from Chulin." Chulin smiled and greeted everyone. "Thank you very much for the director's strong support and everyone's cooperation. The achievements belong to our family, and I can't do anything alone." The speech skyrocketed in popularity. Returning to the RV, the agent harshly criticized her and said, "My lady, what were you doing just now? You forgot to bring your mind with you." Although the agent looked fierce, it was also for her. After all, it was not easy for her along the way. She watched her. Chulin acted cute and coquettish. "I'm sorry, Didi Bao. I'll pay attention next time." The agent spoke up and said, "What? Next time. There's another time." The agent looked incredulous and kept shaking her. "My young lady, please figure it out. Every little move you make will become a straw that will crush you. Maybe you'll pull down the halter because of a small action that can't be any smaller." Indeed, there were several particularly popular celebrities before who said goodbye to the entertainment industry forever after being exposed for something bad. Okay, I know, but I really didn't mean to do it." Auchelin pouted, showing a sad expression. The agent was her good friend, and they met by chance. Later, she became her agent. "What's wrong? You've been heartbroken, but it seems like you're single at the moment." Auchelin shook her head and lowered her head in a mournful tone. "It's not heartbroken anymore, it's the person I like. I was planning to confess my love to him this time." "Is it the person you liked in college? According to your description, it feels quite romantic." "So, what happened later?" Chulin let out a long sigh and said, "Later, he got married." "What, he got married?" The agent could squeeze 2 eggs in his mouth. "So you're not in good shape because he got married but the bride is not you, and you're sad." Chulin nodded and said, "You can also say that." The agent approached her and Chulin dodged. "However, what does her wife look like?" "I think you're quite beautiful." "Oh, what are you thinking?" "He's not the kind of person who looks at people. He's the most gentle, handsome, gentlemanly, and intelligent person I've ever seen. There's only one person in the world like this," the agent said as she looked at her with a silly expression on her face. "He's just him, no one can replace him. The regret in college never came to a satisfactory end. He got married, but the bride was not me, and the person who held hands with him for a lifetime was not me. Mo Yunjing and Mu Nanfeng finally don't have to spend time with Fu Chenxi every day. Don't be too comfortable, but they still worry about him." Feng, you speak well. It's so creepy, I've goosebumps." Mo Yunjing smiled. "You said, Chenxi won't really like Xie Wanning, right?" Mu Nanfeng waved his club. "You didn't think so before." "Yeah, I thought he was too abnormal this time. Isn't it that Xie Wanning left? He should be happy, but he seems to have been abandoned, drinking all day to drown his sorrows. I have to believe that he has fallen in love with her." Mu Nanfeng shook his head and said, "Actually, he has always loved her, but he didn't realize it. Otherwise, if you talk about his temperament, he can easily marry someone and buy her various things, and she will always respond to her requests." Mo Yunjing patted his thigh and said, "Oh, I didn't expect that." "Indeed, with his bad temper, who dares to interfere with him? At the end of the day, besides his grandmother and his master, Xie Wanning is the only one. The onlookers see clearly, while the onlookers see clearly." Chapter 8. Ning Shi, long time no see. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Xie Wanning stayed at the hotel for a week, sorted out her mood, and planned to go back home. Some things should also be returned. Wearing sunglasses and driving a Porsche, even the gentle breeze carried the scent of soil. Xie Wanning looked at the scenery in front of her and smiled. It had been a long time since she had appreciated the beauty of nature. Home is still the same home, nothing has changed, but it has changed again. My mother, who loves me, is no longer there. The laughter and joy inside have nothing to do with me. Standing at the entrance, it feels like another world. Sister, she was hanging clothes when she saw a beautiful woman standing at the door. She hadn't left for a long time and thought she had something to ask for. She went over to inquire, but when she saw the person coming, she was stunned. Jie stared intently, her eyes shining with sparkling tears. Xiao Ning, is she really Xiao Ning? Xie Wanning's eyes gradually moistened as she walked up and hugged her. Jie, it's me, she said. All right, don't cry. Look at me, it's been so sad. Xiaoning, you haven't eaten the food I made for a long time. You need to taste my craft today. Xie Wanning took her in and said, I kept my stomach just to eat the food you made. Xie was brought back by Xie Wanning's mother on her way to work. It was snowing heavily and pedestrians were tightly wrapped, rushing home in a hurry. However, Xie was only wearing a thin piece of clothing, her lips turned purple from cold, and her face turned pale. She sat on a stool by the roadside. Unable to bear it, her mother took Xie home first. Later, Sister Xie stayed at home, but she insisted on working and even said she couldn't stay if she didn't do it. There was no other way, so her mother had to agree. Although Sister Xie works at home, doing laundry, cooking, and household chores, her mother and Xie Wanning have long considered her a family, and Xie Wanning also calls her Sister Xie. The furniture and objects in the house have all changed. Xie Wanning looked at this familiar and unfamiliar home, feeling uneasy. Xiaoning, you sit down first, I'll cook. Xie put on an apron and worked hard in the kitchen. Picking vegetables, peeling garlic, steaming rice. Xie Wanning walked to the kitchen, rolled up her sleeves. Xie, I'll help you. Xie pushed her out. Oh, that's all. You're useless, you just wait and eat. Xie Wanning couldn't resist it, so she had to watch from the side. While cooking, Xie didn't forget to let her eat fruits. Xiao Ning, there are freshly bought cherries in the refrigerator, but you should eat more. Opening the refrigerator, various foods and fruits came into view, most of which were Xie Wanning's favorite foods. Xie Wanning took out some to wash and said, Xie, you still treat me well. Fool, I'm not good. Who else can I treat you well? Xie continued to wave the kitchen utensils. In no time, a fragrant smell wafted from the kitchen, and Xie Wanning's stomach immediately began to stir. Gugugugu, gugugugu, Xie Wanning ran to the kitchen, brought out the dishes, and sat with Sister Xie. It's delicious. I'm starving. Xie Wanning couldn't wait to pick up chopsticks, pick up a piece of meat and put it in her mouth. Sister Xie reminded her. Slow down, it's hot, and no one wants to grab it from you. That's right. Xie Wanning picked up a mouthful of rice. It's so delicious, just like Jane Ji before. Sister Xie, if you give 100 points, I'll give you 200 points. Sister Xie was coaxed to be happy by her. You are still the same as when you were a child. In fact, when it comes to the days after marriage, it can be said that they are humble to the dust. Every time they go to the old house, except for their grandmother, everyone else is picky about her, whether it's good or bad. They sit, eat, drink water, walk, talk. They all talk about it, making them think they are going to learn etiquette. They can't even eat a meal and break all kinds of rules. Think about it this way, except for the absence of Fu Chenxi, everything else in life is pretty good, but I don't know how my grandmother is doing, will she be blamed? After Xie Wanning finished her meal, Sister Xie asked her, Xiao Ning, to be honest with me, are you okay now? Song Jiuyuan and Lu Yuanzhou chose to marry Xie Wanning to a greasy company CEO for the sake of the company's interests and development. Sister Xie knew that she treated Xie Wanning as her own daughter to take care of, and she also wanted to protect her, but she didn't have any power or ability to protect her. She was just a nanny and nothing else. I'm pretty good. Xie Wanning was sent to the countryside by Lu Yuanzhou shortly after her mother's death, mainly because she was afraid that she would cause trouble in finding her other half. So she sent her to the countryside. Fortunately, she met a benefactor in her life. A master, and also made a particularly good friend, Han Xia, who was also from that village. However, she later went out to explore. Lu Yuanzhou also loves Xie Wanning's mother, but his whole life is so long. How could he possibly love her only? Xie Wanning is not worth it for her. If his mother were still there, it would be very sad to see her. Sister Xie naturally wouldn't believe it. Really, I'm doing pretty well now. I wouldn't marry that bad old man as they wanted, she said with such ease. Sister, she didn't believe it on her face. Really? Before they finished speaking, Ning Xie shouted at the top of her voice, Chenxi, what's wrong with you? Look at what you've done with my sweater. It said you have to wash it by hand, why don't you understand? It's true. Ning Xie, like a shrew from the village, paused for a moment. Before anyone could see her, they could already hear her chattering voice. Strange, why isn't there anyone? Where are you slacking off? Ning Xie walked in. Chenxi, why are you pretending to be dead? I asked you, can't you hear me? Ning Xie hadn't seen Xie Wanning yet, looking arrogant and unreasonable. Xie Wanning clapped her hands and said, not bad, not bad. Ning Xie is really the same as before. Ning Xie naturally wouldn't take her seriously. She used to be like this, and now she is like this. She twisted her body and walked up to her, oh, isn't this sister? Why did she come back today? Your husband is pretty good, isn't he? Xie Wanning sneered and said, He, of course I came back to retrieve what belongs to me. Xie Wanning swept towards her, and a hint of panic flashed in Ning Xie's eyes, but she calmed down again. You, what are you saying? I don't understand. Oh. Then I need to talk to my younger sister about it. Did the things my mother left for me before she passed away be with you? It's time to return them to me after being with you for so long. Xie Wanning's sharp gaze swept over her neck and wrist, and Ning Xie felt a chill in her back. She slowly retreated, Xie Wanning, you're different from before. Is that right? Ning Xie trembled and said, you weren't that tough before. Xie Wanning leaned in her ear. Then you have to be careful, I'll be even tougher from now on. Xie Wanning didn't talk to her anymore and sat on the sofa waiting. After a while, Lu Yuanzhou and Song Jiuyuan walked in hand. Ning Xie ran over crying and said, Mom, Dad, sister is bullying me. I asked her well, and I was worried about her, but she scolded me and even hit me. Song Jiuyuan and Lu Yuanzhou's faces immediately darkened, and they asked angrily, what are you doing here? Xie Wanning smiled, Hahaha, of course I'm here to retrieve what belongs to me. What do you think? Dad. Listening to this sarcastic dad, Lu Yuanzhou's face darkened even more, like the ashes at the bottom of the pot. There's nothing for you here. Oh. Is that right? Then you have to think carefully. I remember my mother's company shares were transferred to my name, right? And my grandfather's. Lu Yuanzhou didn't expect her to come back to take back the company, and angrily cursed, Xie Wanning, you are really filial. I have been in charge of the company for so many years, and if you want to take them away with just one word, you may look up to yourself too much. I knew he wouldn't hand it over easily, but Xie Wanning wasn't in a hurry either. I don't look up to myself too much, I just look down on you. Xie Wanning looked at them with a disdainful expression on her face. Song Jiuyuan, is my mother's dowry still with you? Thank you for keeping it for my mother for so many years, so I'll take it away first. Song Jiuyuan looked at Lu Yuanzhou with a worried expression, but there was nothing Lu Yuanzhou could do. Nowadays, Xie Wanning is no longer the little girl that anyone can control. Xie Wanning gave a glance, and sister she went to their room and took them out one by one, putting them all in boxes. Sister she, let's go, she said. Ning Xie's mouth was twisted with anger, and she opened her hands to block the door. Xie Wanning, what are you? You can take whatever you want. I tell you, you can't take these things. Chapter 9. No matter what, do not climb the Three Treasures Hall. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. De co lois ara trong quatrin lay text. Chapter 10. It's time to go back. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Sister she had a worried expression on her face, and Xie Wanning knew she was afraid of causing trouble for herself. Oh my, we left that depressing house and those annoying people. Shouldn't we be happy at this moment? Despite this, Xie Wanning appeared calm on the surface and probably couldn't breathe in the pain in her heart. Anyway, it was also her biological father, but his care for her was not as good as that of the servants and sister Xie at home. Since being sent to the countryside, he has never cared about her, let alone now. Sister Xie looked at Xie Wanning with a heart-wrenching expression, giving her a warm, big hug and patting her back like a child. Yes, our days will get better and better in the future. Forget about those unhappiness, let's move forward, she said. The two of them sat in the car, with a pleasant melody echoing and a gentle breeze brushing their faces. Shi Jiao looked at Xie Wanning and said, in the future, we will always be so happy, disease-free, and full of love every day. Dang 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 dang, welcome to our new home, Xie Wanning breathed in the free and fresh air to her heart's content. Sister Xi's mind was full of question marks, and she closed the door with a serious expression, asking her, Ning, you tell me the truth. Didn't you say you're married to someone and it's a scam? Sister Xi had a delicate mind and realized that it was sooner or later, and Xie Wanning didn't intend to hide it from her. No, I'm married to someone I love very much, but he doesn't love me. Of course, she didn't say that and was afraid that Sister Xi would worry again. Then why are you still living alone? Sister Xi began to think in a negative way. Is it because he's not good and bullied you that you came out, or because he threatened you? Continuing, she felt like she could write a story. Peeling an orange for Sister Xi. No, it's just a divorce. Sister Xi suddenly raised her voice. What? Divorced? She seemed to have heard something unbelievable. It's just a strained relationship. Instead of spending the rest of her life tied together, it's better to live your own life and be carefree. Sister Xi stared at Xie Wanning as if trying to see her through. Are you happy? Xie Wanning lied, of course I am happy. I can do what I want without any worries, without meeting people I dislike or following others' shadows. Sister Xi looked bewildered, obviously not understanding. Ning, what is a shadow? Xie Wanning smiled relieved and said, it's not important anymore. Yes, as long as you're happy, that's enough. Xie Wanning thought to herself, of course I'm happy. There are millions of men in the world. If not, we can change. There is no rule that we must hang ourselves on the tree of Fu Chenxi. I still don't believe that with my sister's charm, I can't find someone who loves me. Counting the days, it has been some time since I left home. It's time to go back. Since getting married, Xie Wanning has been circling around Fu Chenxi all day, basically cutting off contact with the outside world. The name, Knight and Princess, was still chosen by her brothers. She clicked on the chat box, edited a message, and threw it onto the sofa to pursue the drama. Xie Wanning watched with relish, but suddenly a hurried phone rang, with only a string of numbers. Hello. Upon hearing the familiar voice, Fu Chenxi felt a little relieved. Hello. Can you hear me? Xie Wanning thought that a child from another family had become mischievous again and was about to hang up. Xie Wanning, it's me. Fu Chenxi, is your brain sick? Why don't you talk after connecting? Xie Wanning scolded directly. Fu Chenxi listened quietly, and assistantly beside him was stunned. I didn't expect Madam to be so domineering. She is not an ordinary match for the CEO, it is a special match. Xie Wanning, I. Assistantly kept cheering him on, but when I thought about you, these words seemed to be burning my lips and I couldn't say them. The phone went silent again. Fu Chenxi, are you feeling full? You have nothing to do when you're free. Speak up quickly, fart quickly, grind and grind, it's annoying. When will you be back? Xie Wanning laughed directly. Fu Chenxi, are you mentally ill? You can ask assistantly to help you go to the hospital another day for a check-up, early detection and treatment. Fu Chenxi still didn't give up. It's almost time, come back. He, Fu Chenxi, in the future, besides sending divorce agreements, don't call me anymore. I'm very busy and don't have time. Hanging up the phone, grabbing the pillow on the sofa and punching a few times, Fu Chenxi, kill you. Ding dong, the knights exploded and said, Ning, I finally think of your handsome brothers, crying to death. With a tearful expression, no, I've been thinking about it all along. Lu Mubai said, Ning, big brother has another surgery tonight and will fly over early tomorrow morning. Situyi. Ning, the second brother's production team will be finishing soon. Wait for me. Lu Tingshan said, Ning, third brother still has a lawsuit to fight. Woo, I really want to see you now. Xie Wanning's face was filled with happiness. Big brother, second brother, third brother, you guys are busy. Don't worry, I won't leave this time. Zhou Zi sent a handsome photo and said, Hahaha, I'm going to see my younger sister. Even the wind is sweet, and I'm on the way. Brothers, I'll take a step first. It's not difficult to imagine Zhou Zi's small expression. The brothers looked helpless, unable to do anything. Who would let them go far? But if we can see my younger sister, what does it matter whether it's far or near, late or early? Master. Ning, are you coming back? Warm welcome, but you miss me so much. You don't even know how many of them are, it's not easy. Oh, my white hair is getting more and more. Looking at the news in the group, Xie Wanning sighed and said, my home is really lively this time. Even the master who often disappears has come out to bubble up, it's not easy. When it comes to rural areas, people always think that the environment is poor, there is a lot of dust, and the economic conditions are backward, so many people don't like going to or coming from the countryside. But they were all wrong. The scenery here is beautiful, with mountains and water, and it's just a tourist destination when you go out. The people in the countryside are also very nice, kind, hardworking, and simple. Xie Wanning is truly grateful to Lu Yuanzhou for sending her to the countryside. Here, she experienced love and care that she did not have before, and learned a lot of knowledge. She has achieved certain results in life, studies, medical skills, martial arts, and has 4 handsome and loving brothers. I wonder how many blessings she had in her previous life to exchange for the luck of this life. Sister, she watched Xie Wanning bouncing around, packing her luggage and singing, not to mention how happy she was. It was really nice to see her so happy. The next day we were about to depart, and Xie Wanning was so excited that she didn't fall asleep all night.